President Obama says that he is in favor of the Buffett Rule, which is that if you are making over $1 million personally, or if you're a family and you're over $2 million, so you have to be super rich to get to this point. This is just income. We're not even talking about wealth. So per year, you have to make this much. For every dollar above that amount, you would get taxed at 30%. Now you might think, wait a minute, I thought the top bracket was 35%. You're right. But they have so many different loopholes in these laws that people like Mitt Romney wind up paying only 13% of their taxes. So what the Buffett Rule does is, no matter what your stupid loopholes, exemptions, etc. are, if you're making over $1 million personally, for every dollar above that, you're getting taxed a minimum of 30%, and I don't want to hear your crap. Okay, now the guy in favor of that, of course, is Warren Buffett himself. It's named after him because he says, look, why am I paying such a low rate? And my secretary pays more than me because the government has fixed it so that the rich get all these advantages. So as a wholesale thing, we should get rid of that. Now, President Obama's 100% right about that. Whether he'll actually do it is a different question. Now, I love the Republican defense on it. They say, oh, what are you talking about? Well, if you do this through the year 2022, so in other words, another 10 years, it'll only raise $47 billion. To me, that's not only, that's a lot of money. Okay, think about it this way. Republicans were just crying yesterday about that Vegas trip that the General Services Administration had in 2010 where they misspent $800,000. $800,000? $47 billion. Not 47 million, $47 billion. They're like, 800,000, it's so much money. How can Obama do this to us? 47 million, that's nothing. Don't worry about that. No, let the rich keep that. What? And this isn't even the rich. This isn't even the top 1%. This is for every dollar above $1 million if you're an individual. Okay? So even that, they say, no, job creators can't have it. Paul Ryan out there talking about, hey, what loopholes would you take away? Because you claim you want to lower taxes on the rich, right? Instead of increasing them like the Buffett Rule, you want to lower them because the rich don't have enough of a break in this country. Okay, well then you say you would offset some of that by taking away some of the loopholes. Which loopholes would you take away? He says, I'm not going to tell you. He says, that's for another committee if my budget ever gets passed. So I'm not going to tell you. And then, but the reason I bring it up is because the second portion of that, Paul Ryan said, well, look, it's not fair to talk about where you draw the line here because these are all job creators. Now, let me ask you guys, who isn't sick of hearing about job creators? You know what? I think the Republicans have run out of terms. I mean, they have flipped every term to their advantage for decades now. Frank Luntz is a genius at doing this. He's their top strategist, and he comes up with pleasant words for really unpleasant things that the Republicans want to pass. But they've run out of pleasant terms for the insanely rich. So now they're down to job creators, but it sounds so false. I don't think it's working at all. I think every time an actual voter hears job creators, thinks, oh, this BS politician telling me about so-called job creators. All he wants to do is protect the rich. Maybe I'm giving too much credit to the voter, but I don't think so. I think that rings really hollow. So, they want to argue that, oh, no, we have to protect the job creators by lowering their taxes. Have at it, Hoss. I think that's a terrible strategy for you. And I know it's a terrible strategy because look at the latest poll, Washington Post, ABC News poll. How many are in favor of raising taxes on millionaires? 72%. And that's after they heard all of the Republican propaganda. And that's after all the Republican voters listen to Fox News Channel all day long, Rush Limbaugh, et cetera, and they get all that propaganda about how great job creators are. And even then, an overwhelming 72% of the country says, no, hell no, I'm not buying it. This is ridiculous. The richest people in the country pay less taxes than we do. Raise their taxes. It isn't fair. It isn't right. And it isn't right for our deficit either. If you care about the deficit, the way we get there is by actually bringing in more revenue like the Buffett Rule would. So if the Republicans want to run their ships into those rocks, go for it, big guy. Run right into those rocks and see how that turns out for you, protecting the rich all the way to the bitter end.